That's it. Hello,
Hi, Chloe. We're here again.
Oh, it's great. It's lovely to see you.
And just as we're about to start talking, the sun's come out.
Oh, that's nice. It's definitely not sunny here, but it will be. It will be. So how's things been with you?
Yeah, good. So since the last time we chatted, I've started university.
Well done.
It was my second day. I got to meet Duncan Baker Brown, which
Great.
when I started at university. I actually sounded a bit like a stalker running up to him saying, "This is
can imagine.
I started university."
Oh, I bet he took it really well.
Yeah, I think so. And then I've loved every single minute of it. I get to glue, stick, draw, and just be creative, which I can bring to my everyday work environment.
Oh, Angela. So it sounds quite low tech for, these days. Is that sounds great. As in going back to making models and things like that.
Yeah, because it's all about we lose our creative side, and actually by making, you can then design better. There's a architect who I absolutely adore called Thomas Heatherwick, and his whole studio is based on making, and they make before they actually create buildings and architecture and things. So it's about experience of architecture, as in the emotion and everything else as well. So.
Oh yeah, I always hoped it would come round. I feel really lucky that when I went to Trent Polytechnic, which is now Nottingham Trent University, and we were drawing on drawing boards still, but the CAD was definitely there. They just didn't have enough computers for us all to use. But I'm really glad to have had it on both sides and making models, and in the late 80s.
Yeah, so, I loved making the model. So I've made model. I've made done lots of drawings. We've made a film. Yeah, so lots of things. The only challenge so far has been my age, but then that's been on me, not any of my cohort or peers or anything. So.
Yeah, is that your head telling you all these things? And
nervous going back at such a older age, back to university. So yeah.
Are you the eldest there then?
Oh, by far.
Oh well, I'm sure no one else cares, so don't you start caring about that. Enjoy it. You sound like you're absolutely loving it. I'm so happy for you. It's a big deal when you've got your own company and you've got a family. I'm really impressed.
Thank you. What's been happening with you?
So I've been very lucky with my projects, and I've actually been not needing to go and see too many clients anyway. I'm at the sort of drawing stage and specifying stage, but I am reminding people that I do online work, which I've been doing for years, because I use this interior design software, which kind of very neatly gets everything in one place. So I'm doing a bit of marketing about that, because I think that people forget that we can still help them even though there's a lockdown. It's all good. It's not normal kind of amount of work, but it's enough, and it's really nice work, really lovely people to help. So
how do you start your day now? Do you start it with a walk, or?
Yeah, I'm trying to, but I'm not into going out when it's raining. That's the trouble when you haven't got a dog. It's kind of, you don't have to.
No,
but
exactly.
I do need to keep that up, because I know it does me so much good. And I was doing beach cleans all summer, just unofficial ones on my own, just an excuse to go right down to the water's edge. And I'm going to get back into doing those again as well. I just had a little break, but I did 21
actually
during the summer.
in the water.
You do?
You should. It's great.
Yeah. I've been in the water twice this year. I'm not into this getting the cold past your middle part, but yeah, it's meant to be really good for you, isn't it?
Yeah, I've my friend who's got Leisure Car Fitness. I go in there about 5-6 in the morning for a sea swim with her. So
how lovely!
Great fun.
Yeah, lot of people doing that, a lot of paddleboarders. It's people discovering the sea in lockdown, haven't they?
Yeah, sea, countryside, everything. So, any news?
Not particularly, no. But it was so nice that we had such a good reception on all what we spoke about last time, comparing notes. We had a lot of views and a lot of comments, so it was so nice. Hence us doing this again.
So should we tell people? So we're back again. We're going to try and get together fortnightly, because our response, people kind of wanted to know more about different topics and liked our different specialities, as it were. So we've decided this week to chat about living with less.
So it's Jane Lee, wasn't it, in particular, who was really keen for us to sort of do this more, and she gave us some suggestions, and this was one of them. So thank you, Jane.
Yeah. So we're opening up to more suggestions as well.
Yeah, absolutely. If anyone wants us to talk about other things that related to interiors, brilliant. It would be lovely to. It'd be a great pleasure, and we'll keep them on the YouTube channel and share them online. So living with less. Yes. Well, I've recently been getting into audiobooks again, and one that I listened to was The Minimalist Way.
My computer away from the sun a bit. Sorry.
Oh yeah. I don't know if you've heard about The Minimalist Way, but it's a really nice book. And I kind of thought, it's going to be interiors related, and it is to a certain extent, but it's talking about clutter and the well-being feeling of not having too much clutter in your life. And it did make me think, we're so different, but there is this fine balance for me, for sure, between comfort and minimalist living. I don't want to have so much stuff that I'm worried about it, or it's a nuisance. And it was a really good listen. I'd recommend it.
Yeah, absolutely. I always get worried about the words living with less and minimalism, simply because it just sounds like austerity, doesn't it? It sounds like we're giving up something rather than it being such a wonderful thing,
Yeah.
And so the word living with less actually means, oh God, have I got to go on a diet? Have I got to clean up my house? Things like that. Where actually, by doing those things, increases your health and well-being. And from your point and mine as well, is the sustainability side of it. Is there any recommendations, when you go in, and how do you start to talk about people living with less and things in your job?
Well, I mean, the whole thing for me is just really buying things that you love, and hanging on to the things that you love and the things that make you feel good. I was just thinking about this morning, eating my breakfast out of a bowl that we bought on holiday. Where were we? Helsinki, with lovely memories of being somewhere, meeting up with friends from Australia, and I've got that nice reminder of something every time I have a bowl of cereal. It's kind of having these things around you that are kind of enriching and reminders of happy times, and that kind of energy that you get from things.
Absolutely.
So kind of
it tells our story and our core values and things like that, and you get lost with things, don't you? So the things that are most important to you don't actually see and experience, whereas if you live with less, you get to use these lovely items and things in your life.
Yeah, and I've always been for, so this, I'm going to tell you two little things today, but one of them is from, I think it was like I was 15, and it's quite unusual at the time, but we were burgled, and we were on holiday visiting my uncle who lives in the Netherlands, and it just, all they took was jewellery, but it was all sentimental jewellery, and it was so upsetting for my mum, and after that, it did make you think, if there was, any few things that we might have hung on to after that or replaced, it's kind of wear them, use them, enjoy these things. Don't sort of keep them so precious that they don't get seen or or worn, or, you know, same with homeware and china and things like that. Use it, enjoy it. So that was a kind of quite an early lesson about stuff for me.
I often have a saying, we have a single-use life, but not a single-use planet. And we should be living our lives like it's going to end tomorrow, but we should be leaving a legacy of good intent and sustainability and everything else. So
yeah, for sure, definitely. And, you know, just consciously buying things, and perhaps you might not buy everything in the way you used to, and you might buy something that's more expensive, but you will value it more, and it will actually have a resale value if you're being really practical most often. And, you know, it's kind of, and then thinking about who's made it, which, you know, is I've got a big thing about that. I think, you know, it gets forgotten about the kind of people in the chain as well. But yeah, you know, or buy things that are pre-loved that are more expensive items, but, you know, find other ways of buying them.
So do you have like a directory of go-to places for your clients to get recycled, reused, pre-loved?
Yeah, it all depends on the client. Yeah, I'm putting one together actually, because I try and keep a lot of resources on my website to help other designers, other design enthusiasts, you know, anyone that's interested in sustainability. So I'm gathering some things on there, and yeah, I've started to put together a sort of a list of where I go. So in time that will come out. But yeah, it just takes a little bit of stopping and thinking and slowing down a bit, doesn't it?
Absolutely. What's the other thing you wanted to tell us? You said two things.
Oh, well, so this time 15 years ago, so I think I started my business on the 18th of November 2005, and so I just left Body Shop. I just had my first week, and on the Friday of my first week working at home, I started off that way, and I'm still doing it. Lunchtime, I put some rye bread in the toaster. It was really bad weather. It was really frosty, and anyway, so I went outside I don't know why I did this while I was making lunch, but this is what happened. I went outside, went in the bin store. It was a mess, and started clearing up the bin store. Completely forgot that I'd left this rye bread in the toaster. I don't know what happened, but somehow it just kept toasting. So, you know, 10, 15 minutes later, coming back into the flat, full of smoke, couldn't get in. Obviously, my phone was in the flat. So basically, knocking on neighbours, finding a neighbour's home, calling the fire brigade. The flat was a complete smoke out, and we were put up in temporary accommodation for about 6 months while it got completely redone. So lost loads of stuff. I've kept photos because they kind of are damaged, but you can still make them out. But, you know, books, clothes, furniture, everything had to get replaced. And it was a huge, huge lesson in stuff for me. And actually, you know, at the time, all I was worried about were my neighbours. You know, it really taught me that, you know, stuff isn't, we give it too much importance, I think. And it was a very nerve-wracking lesson in checking that you had enough insurance.
Yeah.
And luckily we did. But it's so this flat has been completely, everything's replaced. It's kind of, there's some things there, you know, because it was done as an insurance job. There's so many things I'd love to go back and redo, but it's kind of like, because of how I am, I kind of like, well, it's not broken. I can't replace it, which it's quite a little battle I'm having inside about this, but that's by the by. That's an interior designer thing. But
what your experience of what happened to you through to your work as well and your clients?
I think it's had an effect. Yeah, I mean, I definitely want to encourage my clients to bring out all those lovely things and remind them of all those happy times. You know, that's what I see the value in things, you know, that's kind of that emotional feeling, how they
a
make you
deeper
feel.
connection with things. So,
Yeah,
so basically fewer things with a deep connection, and then we can kind of look at a Buddhist type of way, which is gratitude and mindfulness and our intention of what we want to get from our lives. It leaves space for what we want in our lives, you know.
absolutely.
Again, like you, I used to be a real big consumer without any thought for things or what I was buying, and I had so much stuff. I read the book, the Marie Kondo one,
Oh, did you?
and I got rid of bin liners full of stuff, charity, recycled, gave it away, and literally got my summer, winter wardrobe, garage clothes, everything else, down to one wardrobe of things I need. Now, I think she goes a bit too far. She thanks her purse for the service it's given her. I didn't quite go into that depth. But, you know, I have in my kitchen cupboards, I've now moved it down to 4 cups. I've made it down to 4 plates, a knife. You know, why do we need a knife for cutting fish and butchering animals and things like that, when really, you know, it's just an actual thing. It's going to sit in your cupboard and you can't see the lovely items that you do have.
Yeah.
My sister, last night, she said she's buying a thing that dries up food. What's it called?
Oh yeah, a hydrator thing.
Why?
That you,
You know, it's just like when you ever, you know, it's just, that's going to be another gadget that's used for 2 minutes. You know, I had a pasta making machine. I loved it for 3 weekends, and
yeah.
just,
No,
you know,
it's things that only have one use. They drive me mad, you know.
yeah.
So I'm not your typical interior designer. My home isn't an experimental place for me. My home is definitely my sanctuary, and I want to come home and not look at work. And my husband's a decorator, so he doesn't want to come home and look at a project either. So we're both, it's compact, it's very easy to clean, it's very easy to maintain. I actually measured it recently. It's 37 square meters, which is quite small. But you know, you have to be, you know, it's a bit one thing in, one thing out. You know, you have to be quite disciplined about stuff, and it's good for. I like it. I like it. It makes me feel good to not be sort of weighed down with a lot of possessions, but it doesn't suit everyone.
That's a good
But how
word.
did you feel after your process? Because that sounds quite extreme, to go down to so few bits of kind of crockery and cutlery.
I think that's all down to my mental state. So if you've read one of my blogs, it was talked about when I discovered biophilic design, because I went to Malaysia and walked through a rainforest and basically had an epiphany in my life. My life was just great life, you know, probably drank too much, partied too much, had too much, and then kind of did a circle and looked at what was important in my life. And now I've got so much more time to go to university, to work, to do the things I love, because I've decluttered everything. But, you know, I've decluttered people in my life. I've decluttered my life, my physical life. And I try and tell people, don't buy a rug, let's wait to clients. Let's wait until you can actually get the one that you want and afford it.
Yeah.
Let's not rush into that, because there's no quick fix, because you'll still have that dodgy thing for another 10 years. Whereas if you'd have waited, you'd have then absolutely waited for the time it comes into your life and really appreciate it. So I think that's how it's changed my life. Now I'm conscious of time. Shall we do, how do you want to finish this? A quick fire questions?
Yeah.
So So how do you want to do this? Things to you or tips for your clients?
Well, I could give some tips. So I really, really want to encourage people to buy things that they love. It's, if you don't love it, don't get it. Wait. You don't have to do everything at the same time. Like you just said, you can come back and revisit things. Just gather things along the way rather than go out and buy and install. To kind of remind yourself of all those happy times. Definitely review what's already there. This whole thing about starting again, stripping out, just really, I find that really upsetting and wasteful for, I want clients to spend their money wisely, and I want to help them do that. I mean, all of this, we are sort of trying to discourage lots of buying, but we are trying to encourage buying of the right things. And just the third thing is just to really just slow down. The whole hammering that home a little bit more again, just really stop and evaluate. So those are sort of my things I feel I really want to convey. How about you?
So I think mine would be stop getting possessions, because each possession you have just adds more and more anxiety into your life. So like you've just said, and reiterating it, it's just buy what you need, what you want. You don't have to go without. It doesn't need to be all boring and
No.
back to living in a cave. We're not, what living with less is about. In fact, that's a really bad title, isn't it? Because it's not living with less, it's actually living with more of what you want.
Yeah, it's living with fewer possessions, but actually happier and lighter, and more space for other things like you were describing.
Yeah, I think buying less, again, reducing consumption for the planet and the natural resources. And maybe the final one would be reflect on why you're buying, or what you're going to do. Do you want to live with less because you want to save money? Do you want to be, I don't know, lots of more purposeful life? And interior-wise and building-wise, I think we should be designing more durable buildings, because us homes are going to take a lot more wear and tear with our work in there, living there, being there, socialising there, all happening in our homes, and hopefully out in nature a lot more. But make it more durable and harder wearing, so that it can be robust enough to deal with your life.
I think that's actually what I've done at home. So, everything is so durable and robust here that it's kind of like there's nothing left to do to update it. So I think I take out all my creative urges on my clients instead. But absolutely. It's save those energies for other parts of your life, and it's a good thing. Oh, it's been great talking to you about it.
We are looking for recommendations of what else to talk about. So thank you.
Yeah. And people can, just DM us or add comments underneath. But it'd be really interested to hear what other people want to hear about. We've got a little list going as well, so that would be great.
Every 2 weeks we're going to be talking, and what people don't know is Chloe and I have actually never met each other in person.
And we actually don't talk offline, really, other than setting up these calls. So that's quite nice, because we're actually just discovering these things about each other as we go. It's really nice.
Yeah, okay. Right, thanks, Chloe. And
thanks, Angela.
I shall catch up with you in 2 weeks' time.
Great.